Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. The Honorable Committee of International Business Information Management Associations. Let me introduce myself. My name is Provita WIJAYANTI. I am from Department of Accounting, Faculty of Economic, Universitas Islam Sultan Agung Unisula, Indonesia. And I'm also PhD student of Accounting Research Institute, UITM, Malaysia. At this time, I would like to present about my paper, which is titled The Optimization of Tax and Zakat Compliance in Indonesia, an Approach to Religiosity, Behavior Control, and Social Support System. My study is motivated by condition in the country to increase tax ratio is priority that makes tax the biggest source of state revenue. On the other hand, Zakat also has an important role to realize social welfare in Muslim majority countries such as Indonesia. The large potential of Zakat from the Muslim population sector in Indonesia encourages the conceptual framework of Zakat and tax synergies to fill the Zakat policy gap as a deduction for taxable income and has not made Zakat as tax credit. Therefore, the study is aimed to explain the optimization of Zakat and tax compliant behavior with approach of religiosity, behavior control, and social support system, which collecting the opinion and responses from Zakat profession pair consisting of academic, regulator, and practitioner in the field of accounting, Zakat, tax, and Islamic finance. The main idea is formulating appropriate policy strategies to strengthen the integrated role of tax institution and Zakat or Islamic social finance in Indonesia. This study is conducted because of problems related to Zakat and tax which arise in Indonesia. Indonesia tax ratio is still lower than the average value of the world tax revenue to GDP ratio, which is 15.06% according World Bank 2016. The tax ratio for Indonesia is around 10%, which is lower among the Southeast Asian region compared to Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Cambodia. In fact, Indonesia has highest gross domestic product GDP in the ASEAN region, number 5 in Asia, and 15 in the world. Ideally, tax ratio should be in linear with the economic progress of a country. This reality is a challenge for the government of Indonesia to increase the ideal tax ratio, which is close to the state's budget of around 15 until 16% of total GDP so that it can guarantee fiscal sustainability and deficit which are under control. Furthermore, Indonesia has Muslim population and could potentially receive the largest zakat in the world with 280 trillion rupiah according to Basnas. And according to Ministry of Religion, the potential of zakat in Indonesia is still very low, under 1% of the target in 2018 until now. Problem research in Indonesia related tax compliant behavior, Zakat has a significant effect. Therefore, the public perception of the system need to be improved. Muzaki perception can be measured by several variables. From according to Al-Ma'mun and Haq 2015, aspect of halal haram legal awareness, knowledge of tax, and knowledge of zakat are positive factors that influence Muslim consumer perception of the zakat system as a tax deduction. And from Haji Othman 2019 added the attitude subjective norm, perception of behavioral control, which consists of the quality of facilities and service, knowledge, self-efficacy, perception of law and law enforcement, perception of equity in distribution, tax deduction, and perception of promotion, exposure, moral obligation, and religiosity have a positive and significant effect. on intention. In relation to compliant behavior, intention has a positive and significant effect. My study has relationship with current issue in global zakat development following 7 aspects. There are regulatory framework, institutional performance, measurement standard of zakat institution, technological distribution, interpretation of PK of zakah, alignment with global issues such as SDGs and global cooperations. And my study has relationship with current issue of zakat regulation is that there are integrations of zakat into fiscal and taxation system as well as monetary and financial system. Research questions. Based on the empirical fact above, the effort to adopt zakat as tax deduction plays an important role in achieving the realization of zakat and tax revenue and require full support from the government to implement an integrated transformation of the zakat and tax system. Therefore, researchers are interested in examining people's perception about the integrated overall zakat and tax, which can be assessed from 3 important factors. The first factor is religiosity. The second factor is perceived behavioral control, including knowledge about tax, zakat and halal haram, zakat as tax deduction, promotional exposure, legal awareness, digital platform facilities, self-efficacy of paying zakat, and perception of the fairness of zakat distribution. And the third factor is the social support system, which includes family, work environment, pressure, and amil zakat, which affect zakat and tax compliance. Knowledge gap in prior study had limited our understanding of zakat compliance in Indonesia. The current study was hoped to narrow down to the knowledge gap and provide useful information and strategies in helping zakat and taxpayer. The topic of my study is supported by previous researches that I have compiled as follow Amila Haq et al. Which titled Digital Platform Zakat Management Organization for Young Adults in Indonesia. The result is Zakat Understanding Influence Paying Zakat Behavior, which is initiated by increasing the trust and using digital technology. It is important to use digital advances for educating young adults, especially about the essence of zakat, so that the aim of zakat collection can be achieved. And from Wijayanti et al. 2019, which title Critical Thinking Framework of Zakat Regulation to Support Tax Compliance, Comparison of Indonesia and Malaysia. The results zakat and tax revenue in Indonesia are lower than in Malaysia. One of the factors is the different rules of zakat as a tax deduction for taxable income. While in Malaysia, the zakat paid cannot only reduce taxable income but only can be a deduction or tax credit. And from Al-Ma'mun et al. Measuring perception of Muslim consumer toward income, tax rebate over zakat on income in Malaysia. The result are halal haram aspect of Islamic Sharia, legal consciousness and religiosity of Muslim consumer are positive significant factor for growing perception toward tax rebate over zakat on income in Malaysia. And totally from preliminary study, I found research gap. What was missing in the literature from the current studies was the focus on zakat compliant or tax compliant only, not as an integrated part. The second one, literature review showed that in measuring zakat and tax compliant behavior, elements regarding transforming zakat and tax systems such as religiosity, perceived behavioral control, and social support systems seem to be very few researches in Indonesia limited to conceptual papers. Therefore, the transformation of zakat and tax system is considered to fill in knowledge gap in optimizing zakat and tax collections. This is literature review related zakat and tax, and we can see from this slide The potential of receiving zakat can indicate the level of welfare of the community, especially in countries with a majority Muslim population like in Indonesia, but the potential of receiving zakat has not yet reached the target due to the lack of understanding the zakat can improve society welfare, according to Suma and Riandono 2016. In addition, low trust on amil zakat, lazis or births, name zakat institution in Indonesia. In distributing zakat also makes muzaki, zakat payer, prefer to pay zakat to mustahik or zakat recipient directly. Thus, the collection and distribution process of zakat cannot be optimal. And previous studies mentioned that rule of zakat could be optimal if the government and zakat institutions cooperate to collect and distribute them systematically. And therefore, the government is trying to harmonize zakat and taxation, which more effective and efficient. This is literature review related religiosity. Religions get human to make decisions in their life despite of the difference in religiosity from one person to another can vary. It is calculated by which extent they stay committed to their religions. In addition, there is research which decide that stronger religious beliefs have positive relationship with economic attitude. This is literature review related perceived behavioral control. Perceived behavioral control is one example from many explanatory variables in several theories such as theory planned behavior and has been reviewed in numerous fields including tax and zakat, marketing, career planning, and medicine. And this is literature review related social support system and zakat compliant behavior and tax compliant behavior. Based on empirical phenomenon and preliminary studies, therefore, here is research model development in my proposal. Based on research gap and conceptual framework, we propose research methodology to provide the model framework in which this study will use quantitative research method. The data used are primary data using questionnaire and interview through group decision forum. The sampling technique used in the sampling technique respondent in this study will focus on professional related to accounting, tax, and Islamic finance. The 7-point scale technique was used in terms of ranking the baseline question. Data analysis used a two-stage comprehensive analysis technique. In the first stage, demographic division of respondent uses demographic tools such as frequency distribution. In the second stage, data analysis and hypothesis testing are used structural equation modeling technique AMOS 20. That's all. That's all our explanation, and I will close my presentation with conclusion. The strategy of increasing zakat and tax revenue in Indonesia has several obstacles in its implementation in the regulatory sector, regulator, expayer, and zakat payer. The complementary synergy of zakat and tax must be carried out to improve the welfare of the Indonesian people. The model framework to encourage the realization of the potential of zakat and tax can use the religious, behavioral and social support system approach by referring to the basic theory of compliance and the theory of perceived behavioral control. That's all my explanation. Thank you very much for the attention and suggestion to improve our paper. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.